we prepared for the extreme future? Do we know what we have to do now to ensure our future success? For this presentation, let's take a look at one of the things that we should be working on today, and that is, preparing our students for global citizenship. We will look at what it means to be a global citizen, what globalization is all about, what we can do to prepare our students to be global citizens, and we also look at examples of what schools are doing now, as well as thoughts from individuals. Among the many questions related to this topic, we look at essential question: how can international school students become globally competent? The challenge we are faced with is this: international schools should create ways of teaching globalism creatively and effectively, to come up with truly global students. But before we even move into the core of this topic, let's take a look at one of the many challenges that we face in schools today. Following is a short new video clip on an incident involving African American and Asian students in South Philadelphia. Though you may consider the following eye-opener as an introduction into learning about multiculturalism, we'd like you to consider viewing this with an eye on global education and global citizenship. Let's roll the video, please.
The principal of South Philadelphia High School has announced steps to address safety concerns at the school. The announcement comes in response to recent attacks on Asian American students at that school. Those students say African American students have been targeting them because of their race. Action News reporter Vernon Odom joins us now live from the school with the latest developments. Vern, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sarah. This morning, school district officials laid out a lengthy and elaborate plan to quell ongoing racial tensions and safety concerns here at South Philadelphia High School. As many as 50 Asian American students have boycotted classes this week, claiming to be victims of racially motivated violence, with school officials not taking it seriously. The school district showed South Philadelphia High's best face this morning. Dozens of friendly, disciplined students who opposed the anti-Asian violence that spurred a student boycott this week. The district CEO announced multiple changes to lure them back: more security cameras, more cops inside and outside the school and in the surrounding neighborhood. In the meantime, they want the boycotters to return with promises of diversity committees and a renewed effort to get at racial conflict. This afternoon, we expect to hear directly from those Asian students who've been boycotting this week. We expect to get their response to the changes announced by the school district today. Live in South Philadelphia, Vernon Odom, Channel 6 Action News.
Hunger, no access to education or information, wars, unemployment, religious conflicts, the list goes on and on. A child born today will be faced as an adult, almost daily, with these problems of a global interdependent nature. He will be both an actor and a beneficiary, a victim in the total world fabric, and he may rightly ask, why was I not warned? Why was I not better educated? Why did my teachers not tell me about these problems and indicate my behavior as a member of an interdependent human race? It is therefore the duty and the self-enlightened interest of governments to educate their children properly about the type of world in which they are going to live. We live in an increasingly globalized world, but even in international schools, students are often not aware of issues seriously affecting the world today, and are not prepared to truly become global citizens. Usually, international schools have mission statements and student expectations that encompass the creation of socially responsible global citizens. Most probably, teachers are at a loss for what this really means, and they do not necessarily embody these principles in their own lives. Before we explore our responsibilities and possibilities as international school educators, let's take a moment to define important basic terms. Let's define the term globalization. No matter how closed or underdeveloped a society may be, globalization has knocked at everyone's doors, and it is hard to deny the fact that today the world is more integrated than ever. Although hard to define and often misinterpreted, globalization is an irreversible process by which societies share more easily a globe-spanning network that includes communication, trade, exchanges of know-how, etc. Some talk about economic globalization, others on global communities, but what we see today is globalization as a combination of economic, technological, socio-cultural, even political, and a transnational circulation of ideas and programs bringing peoples together. The question posed to us, as educators, before anything else is then quite clear, are we ready to help developing global minds in our classrooms? Or better, am I, as an individual, globalized? Advancements in communication and new opportunities outside of our comfort zone have greatly put people from different backgrounds, nationalities and cultures together. This has intensified the need for us to know better about each other. However, it is evident that although it is easier to communicate with anyone, anywhere, at any time around the globe, we still tend to live inside the boxes we were raised in, and know very little about people from other cultures. And an important distinction is necessary here: globalization is quite different from integration. The world has become an increasingly interwoven place, and today, whether you are an individual, a company or a country, your threats and opportunities increasingly derive from whom you are connected to. We are now teaching around the world because globalization exists, and it demands institutions to provide quality education at every corner of the planet. After globalization has become the pillar of most international initiatives, the time will come when responsible world citizens will guarantee order, peace and security across borders. Historically, globalization was initiated when the world was ready to change. The Berlin Wall collapsed, and the Cold War crumbled. It is now the proper time for global education and global citizenship to be installed in our international schools. This has to be the era of global responsibility. We are international school educators. We have a responsibility to uphold. And indeed, the future is in our hands. So, what do we do then? How do we respond to this responsibility? What does it mean to be a global citizen in this world today? Let's watch a few interviews of our friends and colleagues, to see what they have to say about global citizenship.
I think being a global citizen, it means to take care of the world beyond national boundaries. I think without living in 5 years in the United States, I would not have been this global citizen. So it helped me a lot to understand and also get to know people. Thank you.
My name is Mimi. 你好，我是马来西亚的中国人，叫 Mimi. I am from Malaysia. I think to be a global citizen, one has to be tolerant of others' cultures and religion, and to be able to socialize in a foreign land, to be adventurous enough to try the food, to make new local friends, and to at least try to learn the language and to communicate effectively. That's it.
Being a global citizen is like having an experience of more than one country and being a member of more than one country, like me here. I'm a member of Tanzania, and right now I feel like I'm also a member of Korea.
A real global citizen means that your home is everywhere, and so maybe global citizenship well, questions your roots or questions where you belong.
Being global citizen means for me being open-minded and get new experience and just look how other people are used to live and try to talk to them and try to spend time with them.
In that case, we have to not just tolerate each other, but accept our differences, kind of promote peace and unity among ourselves. So a global citizen has to, I think, initiate and reach out and understand others, and as well as promote his or her own culture and own understanding. I think there has to be a kind of unity among both me and the other culture as well.
After hearing about what some people think of global citizenship, let's take a look at what the academe says about this concept. According to McIntosh, global citizenship is all about habits of mind, heart, body, and soul that have to do with working for and preserving a network of relationships and connections across lines of difference and distinctness, while keeping and deepening a sense of one's own identity and integrity. This review from Kirkwood is presented as a basis for defining what global education is all about. In his research, Kirkwood did not find any one common definition. Thus, he presents the following basic assumptions underlying any kind of global education program. All human beings are created equal. Human behavior is culturally, not racially, determined. All people possess basic human rights. And global education has a moral purpose. Today, more than ever before, the global is part of our everyday local lives. We are linked to others on every continent. Socially through the media and telecommunications, culturally through movements of people, economically through trade, environmentally through sharing one planet, and politically through international relations and systems of regulation. As Kirkwood writes, students are prepared for global citizenship by incorporating perspective consciousness, state of the planet awareness, cross-cultural awareness, knowledge of global dynamics, and awareness of human choices. International schools generally have broad mission statements and essential learning requirements. It is not enough to simply print out posters with these ideals, without making significant efforts to help students and staff members to embody them. As Kirkwood said, there is a moral purpose to global education. There is also a question of accountability. Accrediting bodies like the Western Association of Schools and Colleges want to know what we are doing to put action behind these words. Too often, we come up short in our answers. Education for global citizenship is all about the following: asking questions and developing critical thinking skills, equipping young people with knowledge, skills and values to participate as active citizens, acknowledging the complexity of global issues, revealing the global as part of everyday local life, whether in a small village or a large city, understanding how we relate to the environment and to each other as human beings. Following are pictures showing students and teachers in action. There are pictures with students in outreach programs in China, with students in outreach missions in Bangladesh, and also an outreach program of the American International School Dhaka, that really focused on the simple mission of creating stewards of a just and sustainable world. Much of the students' work was done in concert with the IB requirements for service. The wonderful thing about a school like AISD is the fact that there is a lot of work that can be done in the area, with pretty obvious benefits that can be seen early. The outreach group did a lot of tutoring at various schools, habitat building, and fundraising. There were also decisions that were made, such as shifting the students' prom party to the school, instead of holding it at a hotel. This move made a symbolic statement about what students did with their excess of wealth. Just about all of the high school students at AISD were fairly involved in some type of service work, the IB kids in particular. The teachers were also heavily involved in the service programs. There are programs at the American Embassy School in New Delhi that are as good, if not better, than the AISD service programs. For example, there is a slum just next door, and once a week, all of the kids from the slum come to AES for medical care, hair washing, tutoring, games, etc. Funding for these projects come from AES. The students pretty much run everything. There's a student coordinator, and the rest of the kids run the stations. There are also teacher volunteers who are there, just in case assistance is needed. So, the essential question we addressed today was, how can international school students become globally competent in the 21st century? We are not so sure of what lies ahead of us in the near future, but we cannot deny the fact that in a fast-changing and increasingly interdependent world, education is the main avenue through which the youth may better meet the challenges they will confront tomorrow. Being educated as global citizens helps us to acquire the knowledge, the understanding, and the skills and values so necessary for full participation in society. This is a guarantee of our well-being, a possibility for positive contribution, both locally and globally. It is in educating our students as global citizens that we provide them with confidence, self-esteem, and skills of critical thinking, communication, cooperation, and conflict resolution. These are all vital ingredients in improving motivation, behavior, and achievement across the school. Global citizenship involves children and young people, fully in their own learning through the use of a wide range of active and participatory learning methods. Education for global citizenship encourages learners to care about the planet and develop responsibility. We are all responsible for the globe's resources, and the sustainable development the world waits for. This generation can no longer accept the wide gap between rich and poor, poverty and lack of basic human rights. Education is the only powerful tool for changing the world, because tomorrow's adults are the children and the youth we educate today. The extreme future is closer than you think. We need to get ready for it. We must start educating today to make a better tomorrow.